Ever get that desert dry mouth feeling after you polish off a bag of chips?
I know exactly what you mean.
You immediately reach for something to drink, right?
Anyways,
But get this, our bodies are already on the case, fighting that dryness with a secret weapon, our submandibular glands.
oh yeah, those things are amazing.
Seriously, and today we're diving deep, deep into these unsung heroes of, well, hydration. We've got some really interesting medical research to help us understand what's going on, so get ready.
It's wild how much we take saliva for granted.
For real, most of us probably, I don't know, picture a cartoon spit take when we think about it.
Yeah.
But saliva, it's way more than just, well, spit.
Yeah.
To kick things off, can you give us the, Saliva 101, starting with the submandibular gland and duct?
Okay, so picture this. There are not one, but two of these glands nestled right under your jawline. Two. And each one has a duct, this little tube. It's got this awesome name, actually, Wharton's duct, that carries the saliva into your mouth.
Wharton's duct. That even sounds important.
Right.
So you've got two glands, two ducts, all perfectly positioned too.
Bathe your mouth in saliva, which is way more impressive than it sounds. It's like this multitasking wonder fluid. It helps you swallow, obviously, but it also starts the whole digestion process before you even take a bite.
Which explains why chewing on dry food is the worst.
Totally.
But, our research showed that saliva does even more than just keep things, lubricated. It actually helps, keep our teeth strong. Tell me it's fighting my battles against cavities.
Oh, it absolutely is. Saliva, it's got these minerals in it that actually help remineralize your teeth. Think of it like it's constantly reinforcing your enamel, like a never-ending construction crew just working away.
Wow.
But wait, there's more.
Okay.
Saliva is crucial, absolutely crucial for keeping a healthy oral microbiome. You know, that balance of bacteria that keeps your mouth happy.
So it's like a 24/7 superpower we have, and we don't even realize it. Okay, get this. The submandibular gland, it's responsible for a ridiculous amount of our saliva production, like 70% when we're just going about our day. That's most of it.
It is the heavy lifter, though I will say there's another player in this game. When we start eating, that's when the parotid gland, another salivary gland, steps up to the plate. It becomes the main saliva producer at that point. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Wow. This is like a whole coordinated system. But like any system, things can go wrong. What are some common issues that can pop up with the submandibular gland and duct?
So one of the most common culprits is something called sialolithiasis, which is a really big word for a salivary gland stone. Basically, calcium deposits build up and block the duct.
Wait, those tiny tubes can get clogged? What causes that?
So this is where, that gravity we all know and love.
Unfortunately.
All right, the saliva in the submandibular gland, it actually flows upwards against gravity.
Oh, no.
To do its job. And unfortunately, that whole process can cause some, shall we say, traffic jams.
In the form of calcium deposits.
Exactly.
Ouch. That can't be pleasant. And
It's really not. We'll get into more detail on that later, but it's way more common than you'd think. I mean, 80 to 90% of these salivary stones, they're found in Wharton's duct.
So that's one thing to look out for. What else? Our research also mentioned something about an autoimmune disease, too.
Right. Sjogren's syndrome. That's an autoimmune disease where your body is basically, attacking its own moisture-producing glands.
Yeah.
Including the salivary glands and even your tear ducts.
So it's not just a dry mouth issue then. It's a whole other thing.
Exactly. And with Sjogren's, you're dealing with dry mouth and dry eyes, which can be incredibly uncomfortable, even affect your vision.
Wow. Yeah. That's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got stones, we've got autoimmune disorders, but our research also mentioned that even regular, everyday medications can mess with saliva production.
You're right. It's called medication-induced xerostomia, which is a fancy way of saying dry mouth caused by medication.
Okay, so xerostomia equals dry mouth. Got it. But it's more than just an annoyance, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Dry mouth, it can make it really difficult to swallow. It can affect how you taste things, and it can even lead to, believe it or not, tooth decay, because you don't have that steady flow of saliva to remineralize your teeth.
It's crazy how these things are all connected. And to think that it can be a side effect of, antidepressants or even blood pressure meds.
It's true. It's something to definitely keep in mind.
Yeah. It really makes you realize how interconnected our bodies are and how even the smallest things can have a huge impact. So let's say someone's listening to us right now and they're thinking, wait a minute, my mouth has been feeling a little like sandpaper lately. What should they do?
First and foremost, don't hit the panic button. We're just here to share some, interesting info, not to play doctor.
Right. Leave that to the professionals. But The takeaway here is that even if it seems minor, those symptoms are worth, like, paying attention to, right?
Absolutely. It's easy to think, oh, dry mouth, no big deal. But it really can be a sign of something, something bigger going on.
Not to mention, like, chronic dry mouth. That's got to affect your day-to-day life.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine like trying to enjoy a meal, but swallowing is hard. Or, you're in a meeting and you want to speak up, but your mouth is so dry.
Yeah.
It's like these glands, they're playing a bigger role than we realize.
It's so true. You just don't think about how something as basic as saliva can affect your, I don't know, your confidence or even your ability to, like, connect with people.
It's like this secret support system we all have,
Yeah.
and when it's not working right, it throws everything off. So yeah, if you're having any of those, those symptoms that just won't quit, talk to your doctor. Seriously. They can figure out what's up and help you get back on track.
Couldn't agree more. And while we've talked about some of the, I guess, more common things that can go wrong, our research also mentions some things that are, well, less frequent, but still important.
Right. So we talked about salivary gland stones, and those are definitely more common. But tumors, and we're talking both benign and malignant, those can happen in the salivary glands too. And those can cause, like, you might feel a lump or some swelling, maybe pain, even numbness in your face.
Okay, yeah. Definitely not something to ignore.
Exactly. Any weird lumps, pain that won't go away, anything like that, you got to get it checked out. Early detection, that's key, always.
This has been, wow, quite the journey. Like the world of saliva. But before we move on, there was one more thing in the research that I found super interesting. The whole connection between, like, our emotional state and how much saliva we produce. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, for sure. It's easy to focus on the physical stuff, but our mental and emotional health, it all ties in.
Yeah.
Even with something as, like, seemingly basic as saliva.
It's true. How often do we say, oh, I'm just thirsty, when really it's like our body's trying to tell us something else? Stress is a real trip.
Tell me about it. And researchers, they're still trying to figure out exactly how it all works. But we do know that stress, anxiety, even excitement, it can all mess with our autonomic nervous system. And that system, it's controlling our saliva production.
So to wrap this up for our listeners, what are some of the key takeaways about this mighty gland we've been talking about? How do we keep things, flowing smoothly?
Well, like always, hydration is key. Think of it like keeping those salivary glands happy.
So drink up, everybody. What else?
Don't forget about good old-fashioned oral hygiene. Brushing, flossing, you know the drill. It all helps prevent those bacteria buildups that can lead to infections and other problems.
Simple, but important. Basically, take care of your mouth, and your submandibular glands will take care of you. It's funny. Before we started this whole deep dive thing, I don't think I ever really thought about my submandibular glands, ever. And now I'm, like, hyper aware of them.
Yeah.
Every time I swallow, every little bit of dryness, it's like I unlock some secret level of, I don't know, mouth awareness.
And it's kind of wild how knowledge can do that, right?
Yeah.
Like you're suddenly seeing everything in a whole new way.
Totally. And the craziest part is I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. We've touched on this a little, but that whole connection between our emotions and how much saliva we make, I mean, there's got to be so much more to learn there, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's basically like a whole universe just waiting to be explored.
Yeah.
But just knowing that connection's there, that's huge. It's like another piece of the whole mind-body puzzle.
Exactly. Next time you're stressed out and you notice that, like, your mouth is drying up, you might stop and think, okay, am I actually thirsty? Or is this, like, my body trying to tell me something else?
Right. It's like a whole new layer of, like, self-awareness.
This deep dive has been, wow, eye-opening is an understatement. We really got into it. These tiny little glands we all have, the things that can go wrong, and then even, how our brains factor in.
It's been awesome exploring all this with you.
Same here. And to everyone listening, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into, well, the submandibular gland and duct. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health. Now, if you'll excuse me, all this talk about saliva has made me seriously thirsty.